Have you ever watched someone get quiet on you? Not angry, not cruel, just gone. They still text back. They still show up. But something behind their eyes has left the room. And the strange part is, it usually happens right when things are going well. Right after the good date. Right after I love you. Right after they let you see something real. That's not a coincidence. That's a pattern. And once you understand the psychology behind it, you'll never read it as simple rejection again. So let's talk about why people pull away and what's actually happening underneath it. I'm going to walk you through this from three angles: what's happening in the nervous system, what's happening in the attachment system, and what's happening in the story someone is telling themselves about closeness. Because pulling away isn't one behavior. It's a symptom. And symptoms only make sense once you understand what they're protecting. By the end of this, you'll be able to spot the difference between someone who's genuinely losing interest and someone who's just hit their internal ceiling for how close they know how to let someone get. Let's start with the part almost nobody talks about: the body. Here's something that surprises people. Closeness can register as a threat, not consciously. Nobody sits there thinking, this relationship is dangerous. But your nervous system doesn't only respond to danger, it responds to exposure. And intimacy is exposure. You're letting someone see your needs, your history, your soft spots, the parts of you that could actually be used to hurt you. For most people, that's fine. Uncomfortable maybe, but manageable. But for someone whose exposure was punished growing up, whose needs were met with criticism, or whose vulnerability was met with abandonment, intimacy doesn't just feel exciting. It feels dysregulating. And when the nervous system gets dysregulated, it doesn't ask permission. It just acts. Fight looks like picking fights over nothing. Freeze looks like going numb, going quiet. I don't know what I'm feeling. And flight, this is the one we're really talking about today. Flight looks like pulling away. Here's the part that matters. This isn't a decision. It's a reflex. It's the same system that makes you flinch at a loud noise, except the loud noise is someone saying, I really trust you, or I can see myself with you long term. That's why it so often happens right after something good. The good moment is exactly what raised the stakes. More closeness means more to lose, which means more exposure, which means the alarm goes off. So before we even get to attachment styles or mixed signals, just sit with this. Sometimes the pulling away has nothing to do with how they feel about you, and everything to do with how safe their body feels, with feeling anything at all. Now let's bring in attachment theory, because this is where the pattern gets a name. Psychologists talk about something called deactivating strategies. This is a set of unconscious habits people develop, usually people with an avoidant attachment style, to turn down the emotional volume when a relationship starts to feel too significant. And it shows up in ways that feel almost engineered to confuse you. Suddenly they're busier than usual. Suddenly they're noticing your flaws more, the way you laugh, the way you text, things that didn't bother them a month ago. Suddenly they're bringing up their ex, or talking about how they value their independence, or how they're just not really a relationship person right now. None of that is really about you. It's the mind manufacturing distance because the heart got too close. It's a pressure valve. The moment intimacy crosses an internal threshold, the deactivating strategies kick in to bring things back to a distance that feels survivable. Here's where it gets important to understand the difference between two people who both pull away because they're not doing the same thing. Someone with an avoidant attachment style pulls away because closeness itself feels like a loss of self. Somewhere along the way, they learned that being needed or needing someone else meant being controlled, smothered, or disappointed. So independence became their safety. And when a relationship starts asking for interdependence, part of them reads that as a threat to their autonomy. Someone with a fearful, avoidant, or disorganized attachment style pulls away for almost the opposite reason underneath. They want closeness intensely, but they also expect it to hurt them. So they get close. It feels good. And the fear catches up with the desire. They retreat not because they don't want you, but because wanting you got too loud. And loud, wanting, has historically ended badly. Same behavior, completely different engine underneath it. And this is why just be more reassuring doesn't always work. Sometimes reassurance is exactly what triggers the retreat, because it deepens the very closeness the nervous system is trying to escape. Let's go one layer deeper, because there's a belief sitting underneath almost every version of pulling away. And it's this: if I let you all the way in, I will disappear. Think about where that belief could come from. A childhood where a parent's mood dictated the whole household, and staying small kept the peace. A past relationship where being fully known meant being fully criticized. A family where love came with conditions. Be this, don't be that. Need less, want less, take up less space. If closeness once meant losing yourself to someone else's needs, then your nervous system doesn't file closeness under comfort. It files it under self-erasure, and self-erasure is worth running from. So pulling away, in this light, isn't someone rejecting you. It's someone trying to hold on to themselves, which is a strange, sad kind of logic, protecting the relationship with themselves by damaging the relationship with you. This is also why pulling away often intensifies right after a partner does everything right. You were consistent. You were patient. You didn't chase. And somehow they still pulled back. That's confusing if you think this is about your behavior. It makes complete sense if you understand it's about their internal ceiling for how much closeness feels survivable. A ceiling that has nothing to do with your effort. I want to pause here and say clearly, understanding this psychology is not the same as excusing every instance of it. Sometimes people pull away because they're genuinely losing interest. Sometimes distance is information, a slow, quiet no. The nervous system explanation doesn't override that possibility. And I don't want you leaving this video diagnosing every disappearing act as deactivating strategies, so you can avoid an uncomfortable truth. Here's a simple way to tell the difference. Protective pulling away tends to be inconsistent. They retreat, then they come back, often overcorrecting with extra warmth because part of them feels bad about the distance. Genuine loss of interest tends to be a flat line, steady decline, no oscillation, no return. Push-pull is a pattern. Fade out is a direction. Learn to tell them apart, because they call for completely different responses from you. So what do you do when you're standing across from someone who's pulling away? First, don't chase the retreat. Chasing confirms the exact fear driving the behavior, that closeness means losing space, losing self, losing autonomy. The more you pursue, the more the nervous system escalates its alarm. Second, don't personalize the reflex, but don't ignore the pattern either. You can hold both at once. This probably isn't about my worth, and this still isn't sustainable for me. Understanding someone's psychology is not an obligation to wait indefinitely for them to heal it. Third, if it's someone you're building something real with, name it without accusation. Not, why are you so distant, which sounds like an attack their nervous system will defend against. Something closer to, I notice you tend to pull back when things feel good between us. I'm curious what that's about for you. That question invites reflection instead of triggering defense. And fourth, maybe the most important one. If you recognize yourself in any of this, in the getting busy, the sudden nitpicking, the urge to create distance right when things get good, treat that as information, not identity. It's not a life sentence. It's a pattern that was adaptive once, in a different context, with different people, and it can be updated with awareness and usually with support. Pulling away is rarely about how much someone cares. It's about how much closeness they've learned they can survive. Here's the honest reframe I want you to leave with. The opposite of love isn't distance. Sometimes distance is fear wearing love's clothing, trying to protect something it doesn't know how to protect any other way. That doesn't mean you owe endless patience to every person who retreats. But it does mean you can stop asking, "What's wrong with me?" every time someone needs space to feel safe enough to come back. If this helped you make sense of someone or yourself, let me know in the comments which side of this you recognized more, the pulling away or being the one left standing there confused. Remember, connect with yourself and the people around you. Reflect on your thoughts, choices, and experiences. Repeat the process of learning and growth, one step at a time. If you're seeking deeper conversations, meaningful self-improvement, and wisdom that can genuinely transform the way you live, you're in the right place. Subscribe and join a community dedicated to wisdom, self-discovery, and becoming a better human being. New videos every week.